Hello and welcome to this Feed Info Perspectives video on how to scale up an animal nutrition business from startup to industry player. I am Ollie Theocaris, Head of Perspectives Content at Feed Info. Today I'm going to be speaking to Dr. Giles Shih, who is the CEO and founder of BioResource International, also known as BRI. BRI are supporting this video today, and we are going to be talking about everything that Giles has experienced over the last 20 years in running his business, from the challenges he's faced to the importance of partnerships, and also look a little bit at how his leadership style has changed over the course of his business life. Hello Giles, thank you for being here today. Firstly, it would be great if you could introduce yourself to our viewers so they can find out a bit more about yourself and your business.
Sure, my name is Giles Shih. I'm President and CEO of BioResource International. We're a biotechnology company based in the US, and we design feed additives, specifically enzymes for animal nutrition and health. So I'm really happy to be here with you today, Ollie.
Thank you, Giles. So you grew your business from a small startup to an established player in our industry. Can you tell our audience a little bit about that journey, how you accomplished that, and what your business looks like today?
Yes, thank you, Ollie, for giving us a chance to talk about our business and our story. Congratulations on the success of Feed Info and this video series. Like you, many of us are in the industry are dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic and finding new ways to communicate and new ways to do business. And my goal here today is to inspire and encourage the next generation of innovators and entrepreneurs for our industry to help advance it. We have to think differently and do things differently than we ever have before to be sustainable for the future. And so the story of BRI actually starts 20 years ago, 2 decades ago. My father, Dr. Jason Shih, he was a professor at NC State University, North Carolina State University. And he was in the poultry science department there and had developed some patents and technology through his research work. And while I was finishing my PhD in microbiology at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, I was doing some consulting for venture capital firms that were investing in biotechnology and getting really interested in doing some biotech startups and concepts and business. And so he and I started talking, and he said, Giles, I've got these 6 patents from the university that are available for licensing. If you're interested in biotech and starting a business, why don't we form a company and license these patents and see what we can do with it? And these 6 patents were around a very innovative technology at that time to take enzymes to digest chicken feathers into a more digestible feather meal. And that was something that my father had invented and developed through his research at NC State University. And I thought, sure, that sounds really interesting, and I'm looking for some new opportunities and ways to develop my career. And so at the same time, the venture capital investor I was consulting for said, Giles, why don't you put a business plan together? I'll take a look at it. If it looks interesting to me, I'll maybe make an investment. And sure enough, we put our business plan together. He took a look and followed up with an investment. And that was our first money in to help us get started. And around the same time, my father had a graduate student, Dr. J.J. Wang, who was finishing his PhD in my father's laboratory. And we were able to convince him to join us as well to get started with the company. And he's still with us today. He's our CTO, Chief Technology Officer. And it's been a great journey, a wonderful experience. These past 20 years, we've learned a lot. And I want to emphasize here too, when we first started the company, none of us had any experience starting a business, running a business, but we just knew that we were willing to learn and do what was needed to get done. And so fast forward to today, we have a number of employees and a number of products on the market, and really proud of what we've achieved over the past 2 decades.
What a great story. And I think it's clear that our industry really needs businesses starting in maybe less conventional ways to help drive forward innovation in our industry. So it's great to hear that that's going on as we speak. Now, the majority of businesses do fail in the first few years of being set up. So what was it about your approach and strategies that you think you managed to survive that, and you managed to get BRI to the place it is today?
When we first started, we certainly made lots of mistakes, and we got a couple of things right. And there's three main things that helped us to survive and succeed. And those three are, first is strategic partnerships, the second is a science focus, and the third is a learning mindset. And so with the first one, the strategic partnerships, when we started the company, we were very ambitious. We put international in the company name, and even our website, BRI Worldwide, reflects our global aspirations when we first started. And we were just a small startup in the Research Triangle area of North Carolina, and we had no business outside of the U.S., let alone outside of North Carolina. What were we thinking? So we knew that in order to get to that stage, to be global, we would need to have partnerships, and we would need to be strategic in the types of partnerships and the types of business opportunities and collaborations. And that's proven to be true. That's helped us to grow and scale from having partnerships with distributors all over the world, and also with some suppliers over in Asia in terms of scale up of production. And the second thing is science focus. You can see in the screen behind me, our tagline is trust the science. And we really believe that, and we live that out every day. We spend a great deal of time and money to do the research. We publish in all the peer-reviewed journals in our industry. We present at many of the global conferences on the scientific breakthroughs that we've made. And we do a lot of patenting and publishing in this area. For a company our size, it's a pretty heavy lift, but it's important, and in my opinion, is the key to building a sustainable business long-term in this industry. And lastly, learning mindset. Now, I can't emphasize this enough. When we first started, I mentioned that we had no experience, any of us, starting a company, but we knew that we were willing to learn and willing to try. And we've made some mistakes, but we then were able to adjust and continue forward. And so that learning mindset has really served us well. One of our core values is around growth. We talk about, and I talk with my team, the growth of a company is directly proportional to the growth of the individuals within that company. So I spend a lot of time on my personal and professional growth, as well as developing the personal professional growth of the team members. And that's served very well as we've continued to grow. So those three elements have been really important as we've succeeded to grow to this stage, in terms of strategic partnerships and the science focus and then the learning mindset.
I want to pick up on something you mentioned there, which is making mistakes. I think it's inevitable for all businesses, particularly when they're starting out, to have challenges and make these sort of errors, and it helps them develop and become stronger businesses. Can you tell us about some of the challenges you had to overcome at the start of growing your business and how you overcame those challenges?
Yeah, Ollie, when we first started out, nobody knew us. We had no brand awareness, whether customers or partners or potential employees. And it was tough to break through. And I have this story I like to tell from our early days where we were doing a research trial with a potential customer, and they had just finished a trial and had some data they wanted to share with us, and we were very excited to learn about it. And so we scheduled a lunch near their office, and we got up early that morning because it would take 6 hours to drive there. And my colleague and I, JJ Wang, and I drove to meet them for lunch, and we met at the restaurant. And even before the salad arrived and we were sitting down, they told us that the results weren't that significant and they wouldn't be making a purchase of our product. And so even with that news, we had to make some small talk and have some lunch, and ended up thanking them for their time and paying for the lunch, and then driving back 6 hours that evening. It's a long day, and it was pretty discouraging, but we knew that our product worked, and it was something that we believed in, And we just got up the next day and the next day and kept moving forward. And that was a real lesson learned there for us. And I think it's not uncommon for those that are in the sales arena to have that experience. But we believe that walls are put there for a reason, and barriers are put in there for a reason. It's to prevent those that are less passionate and have less perseverance, and to weed those out. And those that do have that passion and perseverance, what we call our grit. And that's another one of our core values, to break through. And I really believe that's been a key factor in our success, that we've continued to believe in the product, believe in the science, and at the end of the day, we know that the product will have value and demonstrate its value to the customers.
I love that. I just think you have to be so resilient when you're trying to start a new business, particularly in the biotech space. So it's great to hear that you've overcome challenges like that and managed to really have an established group of products that people rely on. So I want to talk now about innovation. It's something that I think is at the core of every startup, or it has to be, to allow them to survive. So can you talk to us about why you think innovation is so important for growing businesses in our industry?
I think it was Steve Jobs that said that innovation distinguishes a leader from a follower, and I truly believe that. That's what we live our innovation every day. And if you think about when we first started the company, the product to take poultry feathers and digest them with the enzyme into a more digestible feather meal, that was innovation right there. And then we applied that protease enzyme into animal feed, into poultry feed, swine feed, and showed the benefit on improving yield and improving digestibility. And that's innovation there. And as we continue to develop and have developed new products, we build that innovation into everything that we do. And that's how we meet the customer's needs and in this changing landscape. A lot of companies will say, we're innovative, we want innovation, we believe in innovation. But we look at innovation from a different lens. We take it more from an entrepreneurial perspective. Smaller companies, entrepreneurial companies are willing to take more risk and to iterate faster too from any failures or setbacks, and to be able to get to the next level. And so I think there's a role that startups and entrepreneurs play in every industry, including ours. And I see that's a role that we have played and continue to play in our industry. We're the stunt doubles for our industry.
I think it's all about taking risks, really, isn't it? And that's so important for anyone who is kind of entering the world of the startup. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, which I think has helped a lot of startup businesses, is the role that collaborations and partnerships can play. I know it's something that you have done a lot over the 20 years that you've been in the market. So can you tell us how your approach to collaborations have changed over that time?
There's this African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And this is something that really resonated with me. In the beginning, we were a startup. We did things, just put stuff together, and whatever needed to get done, we got done. But as we grew, we knew that in order to get to the next level, we needed to collaborate. And oftentimes we think about, as we are thinking about our strategy, we're thinking, okay, if there's a challenge ahead, we think about who can help us meet this challenge, whether individual or organization. And then we follow that up with who could, this person that could, or institution could help us. How do we create a win-win situation and that we can both benefit? And so when we were thinking about bringing this product into the market, I shared with you the story of our trying to sell to the poultry integrators and not being successful there. We said, who could help us to get in front of customers and get into the market? Because we knew that there was a big opportunity even outside of the US and globally for our product. And so it happened that my father had some prior collaborations with BRIs International, based out of St. Louis. They're a poultry and animal health and nutrition company. And we started talking with some of the team over there, and ultimately signed a distribution agreement with them for a protease feed additive back in 2008. And that continues today, and it's been a very successful partnership. So that's one example of where we've built a collaborative partnership. And then as we started to scale the product and see the global demand, we said, okay, how can we collaborate with a manufacturing partner to scale the product so that we can produce and manufacture the product cost effectively and high quality. And so through our contacts and our networks in Asia, we were able to find two highly qualified suppliers that do contract manufacturing for us in Taiwan. And that has, again, been a very fruitful collaboration and partnership, and they still produce and scale our enzyme products for us today. So collaboration continues to be an important part of what we do. And as we are sitting here and thinking about, okay, we have new products, next generation products coming onto the market, who can help us? Who are the thought leaders? Who are the driving forces in the various regions and markets who can help us to build the next generation of feed additives? And I'm happy to say that those discussions continue to this day. And so if there's interest to have some conversations, we welcome the opportunity. Please reach out to us on our website or on our LinkedIn page, and happy to have that conversation. At the end of the day, it's about helping all of us move forward and having all of the industry be able to capture the innovation and the value that's available out there.
In our sectors, I think partnerships are just so important, and I love when I see larger companies partnering with smaller innovative companies, because I think both can bring a lot to the table, and I think it's something that our industry really benefits from. I wanted to also ask you about leadership. Now, of course, you've had experience leading a small startup, but also a larger company as BRI has grown. So can you tell us a little bit about what skill sets are required for each of those roles and how your approach to leadership has changed as your career has progressed?
It really has changed quite a bit from when we first started. You know, when we first started the company, we were a very small team, and I wore a lot of hats. All of us did. You know, whenever there was something to get done, we'd just roll up our sleeves and go do it. And I have the analogy that it's like watching 5-year-olds play soccer or football, you know, in the rest of the world outside the U.S. Wherever the ball goes, all the kids run to the ball and crowd around it and then kick the ball to another place, and then all the kids run over there. And that's how a startup is kind of like. You run to the problem, fix it, and then there's another problem, and you go and fix that. And it's a bit disorganized, but it gets the job done. But as a startup grows, as a company grows, just like as you get into more, let's say, you know, higher level soccer, everyone has different skills and plays their positions, and there's more strategy. And the same thing for a company. As we reached about 10 people, I realized I couldn't do everything. I couldn't have my hands on everything. I didn't want to have my hands on everything, and I had to hire team players into that team. And so I feel like you know, as we grow, my leadership has changed so that I'm not as hands-on. I'm more like a coach, you know, to use, again, the soccer, football analogy, and helping my team be successful, you know, and helping them improve their skills or be playing together as a team, and then coming up with strategy and tactics to make us successful. So, you know, there's a lot of things we've learned along the way.
So it sounds like you really got stuck in there and applied the hands-on approach to leadership, which I think is inevitable in a smaller startup. So one thing I did want to build on there is the fact that there are some real positives about being a smaller company. Can you talk to me about what those advantages are and what that has meant for BRI as you've grown?
Absolutely. You know, as a smaller company, we can be more nimble and agile. And you know, we're not as encumbered by, let's say, you know, infrastructure or bureaucracy or just status quo. You know, for example, when COVID-19 hit earlier this year, we were getting a lot of inquiries, inbound inquiries, whether we could extend credit or extend payment terms or help our customers and help our partners in the field who are suffering all over the world. I mean, this pandemic has just impacted whole sectors of industry, and no one's unaffected. And so we really were able to, as a smaller company, respond quickly and effectively to those needs, and as a result, hopefully build some goodwill and build some good trust and value for the long term. So I think as a smaller company, there are limitations too, of course, from a resource standpoint. But I think being nimble and agile, especially in the times we find ourselves in, is really a key factor to help companies be responsive to their customers' and partners' needs.
I want us to now look a little bit to the future. So you've been around for 20 years and a lot has changed over that time. What are your plans for the next few years that will ensure that BRI remains relevant for the animal feed industry of the future?
I think that there's continued need for innovation in our space and in our industry. And we'll continue to develop new products and services and be more data-driven that are capturing some of the latest technologies and innovations in the industry. And we're going to continue to launch our new products. We're really excited about our new EnzaPro product. That's a combination of enzyme and probiotics. It's had really good results in animal trials, both swine and poultry, and also aqua. And so we're really excited about launching that product into new markets, and also developing next generation enzymes and probiotics and feed additives. We feel like there's a significant opportunity and challenges that the industry is facing, and using innovation and technology, we can solve many of those challenges.
A really nice point to end on. Thank you so much, Giles, for your insight today and for giving us some information about how businesses can really grow and thrive in our industry. Thank you everyone for tuning in to this video. We hope you enjoyed it and that you tune in for future videos from Feed Info.